In this videotape, we're going to review some of the questions on lines that are frequently asked on the CUNY assessment test. Now, in an earlier videotape, we learned how to sketch the graph of a straight line from its equation. For example, we had a problem like this. Sketch the graph of 3x minus 2y equals 6. Now, we know that if we were to sketch the graph of an equation of the form ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are constants, and a and b are not both 0, when we sketch the graph in such a case, we will get a straight line. Okay, bearing that in mind, and knowing that 2 points determine a straight line, we simply have to make a table of values for ourselves, which will include 2 points. You can include more if you want. And then we'll plot those 2 points and connect the points with a straight line, and we'll have sketched the graph of the equation. Now, the easiest points very often to get are the intercepts. To get the y-intercept, we're going to set x equal to 0 and solve for y. And to get the x-intercept, we'll set y equal to 0 and solve for x. Okay, so looking at the equation that was given to us, 3x minus 2y equals 6, we will let x equal 0 and try to solve for y. 3 times 0 minus 2 times y equals 6. Now, 3 times 0 is 0. So minus 2y is equal to 6. And dividing both sides by minus 2, we get that y equals minus 3. So the y-intercept for this line is minus 3. And therefore, the line goes through the point 0, minus 3. On the other hand, if we want to figure out what the x-intercept is, we set y equal to 0. If y equals 0, 3x minus 2 times 0 is 6. Substituting into the original equation, letting y equal 0. 2 times 0 is 0, so 3x equals 6. And dividing by 3, x is equal to 2. 2 is the x-intercept. So the y-intercept was minus 3, and the x-intercept was 2. Okay, if we now plot those 2 points, 0 minus 3, 0 down 3, and 2, 0. To the right, 2. And then don't go up, don't go down, stay on the x-axis. The x-intercept was 2. Remember, the y-intercept was minus 3. And we've sketched the graph. That's supposed to be a straight line. Okay, we've sketched the graph of this equation here. Now, the CUNY assessment test is a multiple choice exam, so if they wanted to ask a question like this, they would say, which of the following is a sketch of the graph of this equation? And they might have 4 or 5 choices. The best thing to do is to sketch it on your own and then compare your sketch with the various answers until you find the one that's correct. Okay? If they do ask you just to find the y-intercept of a straight line, you set x equal to 0 and you solve for y. If they ask you to find the x-intercept, you set y equal to 0 and you solve for x. And with the 2 intercepts, you're able to sketch the graph of the straight line. If this went a little too quickly for you, there is another videotape in which we just concentrate on sketching the graphs of straight lines. I just wanted to review it for a few moments. Now, the CUNY test also has other questions on straight lines. Another type of question that they frequently ask is something like this. Which of the following points lies on the graph of y equals 2x plus 3? And they give you various choices. For example, A might be 7, 2, B minus 1, 5, C 5, 1, and D 2, 7. Which of the following points lies on the graph of y equals 2x plus 3. They give you a straight line or some curve, and they ask you which of these points lies on the graph of that curve. Now, basically, this is a trial and error type problem. You have to remember that the points that they're giving you, they're always giving you the x coordinate first and then the y coordinate. And what you're going to do is, one by one, you're going to try these points in that equation to see if you get a true statement. Okay? Y equals 2x plus 3. If x is 7 and y equals 2, do you get a true statement? Okay? Is it true? Remember, y equals, so even though it's written second, we're writing it here first. 2 should be equal to 2 times 7 plus 3. Is that correct? And the answer, of course, is no. 2 is not equal to 14 plus 3, which is 17. So the answer is no. This does not lie on that graph. And we'll try the second one in y equals 2x plus 3. Remember, the first number is x and the second coordinate is y. Okay, is 5 equal to 2 times minus 1 plus 3? And the answer, again, is no, because 5 is not equal to minus 2 plus 3, which is 1. So once again, no good. And then we try the third choice. X is 5, y is 1. We're substituting into y equals 2x plus 3. Y is 1. Is 1 equal to 2 times 5 plus 3? And of course, 1 is not equal to 13. So once again, the answer is no. And finally, and it might be possible that there is a choice, none of the above or something like this, so don't think it's necessarily the last one. But of course, in this problem, you do expect it to be. Y equals 2x plus 3. Y equals 7. Is 7 equal to 2 times 2 plus 3? 7 does equal 4 plus 3. So the answer is yes. So the answer to this problem is the point 2, 7 lies on the graph of y equals 2x plus 3, because when you substitute x equals 2 and y equals 7, you get a true statement. For our next problem, very often they ask a question of this type. If 0b is a point on the graph of 3x minus 5y equals 15, then b equals, and they give choices. A could be 3, B could be minus 3, C could be 15, D could be minus 5. Okay, if 0b is a point on the graph of 3x minus 5y equals 15, then b equals, and you have to fill in one of these answers. Okay, this is similar to the problem we just worked out. The difference is that they said in the last problem, which of the following points lies on the graph, and you had to do trial and error, letting x be the first coordinate, y be the second coordinate, and seeing which one of the points gave you a true statement in the equation of the line. Now here, it's a different approach. They're telling you this point has to lie on the graph. So if we let x equal 0 and y equal b, we'll get an equation to solve for b, and we'll immediately find the b value. So 0b has to be on the graph of this equation. So 3x minus 5y equals 15. We're going to substitute in. We're going to let x equal 0 and y equal b. And we're going to, and this has to come out to be a true statement, we'll get an equation to solve for in terms of b. So if x is 0, 3 times 0 minus 5, and y is b. 3 times 0 minus 5 times b equals 15. 3 times 0 is 0. So minus 5b is 15. Dividing both sides by minus 5, b equals plus 15 over minus 5, so it's minus 3. So you'd write the second choice, which coincidentally was choice B, but that's just a coincidence. Another popular question asked on the assessment test is one in which you're asked to write an equation of a straight line from a sketch of its graph. Okay, now, since it's a multiple choice test, actually what they do is they ask you to pick out an equation of the line. They give you a picture of its graph, and they say, which of the following? Okay, this is the sketch of which of the following equations. Okay, so the procedure is to determine the equation by yourself and then look and find it among the choices. And we're really going to look for, when we say an equation of a straight line, it's very obvious in what we're doing on this test because the choices that are given are very often not what you have calculated, because there are various ways to write an equation of a straight line. And even though you have worked it out and maybe you have an answer in fractions and the answer that they're giving you does not have fractions, we can modify our equation. We can find an equivalent equation that will be one of their choices. So let's see what we can do. Here's a typical problem. Actually, it's a little harder than the problems that they usually give you, but let's see what we can do with it. Okay, let's say the straight line looks like this. It goes through the point. They might tell you it goes through the point 1, 2, and 5, 4. That's supposed to be a straight line going through 1, 2, and 5, 4. And they ask you for an equation of this line. Now, they always give you 2 points on the line. They always give you 2 points on the line. Just continues in either direction. And we're looking to find an equation of the line. Now, one way of doing this is to first get the slope of that line. There is a videotape complete just on finding the slope of a line, reminding you how that works. If you call the first point, let's say, x1, y1, and the second one, x2, y2, then the formula for the slope of the line is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? As I said, there is a videotape that just deals with slope of a line. Okay? The formula for slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, it doesn't matter which you call the first point and which you call the second point, but you have to be consistent. So if this is going to be the second point, this will be the first point. Let's see what we have. y2, which is the second point's y coordinate, 4, minus y1, which is 2. 4 minus 2 over 5 minus 1. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 4 minus 2 over 5 minus 1, which gives us 2/4 or 1/2 for the slope of the line. Now, once we know that, we can write an equation of the line by using the form y equals mx plus b. This is known as the slope y-intercept form of the equation of the line. Now, we know the slope. We have found m. m is equal to 1/2. So we substitute in that value for m. y equals 1/2 x plus b. And we know that we want this point to be on the line. Also, we know we want that point to be on the line. All you have to do is pick one of the 2 points. Either one will do. Substitute in this value for x, this value for y, and solve for b. Once you have found b, you will have the equation of the line. So let's say we're using the point 1, 2. Okay? If x equals 1 and y equals 2, we should get a true statement here. So if x equals 1 and y equals 2, and let's figure out what b is. X is 1, y is 2. So 2 is 1/2 times 1 plus b. 2 is equal to 1/2 plus b. 2 is really 4/2. 4 halves is equal to 1 half plus b, and subtracting 1 half from both sides, 3 halves equals b. So now we found what m was. This was m. We now know what b is. So in the equation, y equals mx plus b, we substitute in y equals m was 1 half and b was 3 halves. And we get an equation of this line. The slope of this line is 1 half, and it does go through the point 1, 2. For example, if x is 1, 1 half plus 3 halves is 4 halves, y will be equal to 2. Now, we could have done the problem also letting x equal 5 and y equals 4. If x were equal to 5, 5 halves plus 3 halves is 8 halves, y is equal to 4. Now, because we're dealing with a multiple choice test, you might find when you look at the various choices on the test that this is not one of the choices. We have found an equation of the line, but not necessarily the one that they're looking for. Very often on the assessment test, they do not leave answers in the form of fractions like this. So what they would do in this case is to multiply both sides of the equation by 2. And if we do that, we'll get 2 times y equals 2 times 1 half x plus 3 halves, or 2y equals, distributing the 2, 2 times 1 half just gives us 1x plus 2 times 3 halves is 3. And it might have been written in the form x minus 2y plus 3 equals 0. Perhaps this was one of the choices. Or another possibility might be x equals 2y minus 3. What you have to do is work out your equation, and if it doesn't look like one of the choices, for example, if none of the choices involve fractions, then clear fractions by multiplying both sides by the LCD, and then keep playing with it until it looks like one of the multiple choice answers. So the answer might have been this, it might have been this, this, depends on what the choices are. The most popular question that's asked about straight lines on the assessment test is similar to the one we just did. They give you a sketch showing 2 points on the line, and they ask you for an equation. However, it's actually a little easier than the one we just did, because the 2 points that they give you, 90% of the time, the 2 points that they give you are the intercepts. So you have a situation like this. They give you an equation. They give you the graph of a straight line, and they tell you that this is the number A and this is the number B. They give you the X-intercept is A and the Y-intercept is B, and they ask you to write an equation for this line. So yes, they're really giving you 2 points, because if they're giving you that the X-intercept is A, this point is really A comma 0. And if they're telling you the y-intercept is b, this point is really 0 comma b. So you could really work this out the same way we just did, in other words, get the slope of this line, and then use either point in the y equals mx plus b formula to find b, and we would be able to get an equation of the line. But there's actually a very easy way to do this problem if they give you the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So if they give you that the x-intercept is A and the y-intercept is B, then an equation of the line is simply x over A plus y over B equals 1. X over the x-intercept plus y over the y-intercept equals 1. Now, you're still going to run into the problem that this involves fractions, and usually the choices on the assessment test do not involve fractions. So you're going to have to multiply through by the LCD, both sides of the equation, to clear the fractions. But let's try a problem. Here is a problem of the type you're most likely to get on the assessment test. Okay? Write an equation of the line whose sketch is given below. Okay, and you might have a picture like this. And they ask you to write an equation of the line, and here is the sketch of its graph. Now, sometimes they actually say 1, 2, 3, and they write the 4 here, 1, 2, 3. But if not, you're obviously capable of figuring it out. The X-intercept is 4, and the Y-intercept is 3. The X-intercept, that's A. The Y-intercept, that is known as B. And equation is x over A plus y over B equals 1. So x over 4 plus y over 3 equals 1 is an equation for this line. X over A, x over 4 plus y over B, y over 3 equals 1. Now, as I said, more than likely that won't be one of the choices. So if we had to clear fractions, we'd multiply through by the LCD, which is 12. We'd multiply both sides of the equation by 12. And we would distribute it, so we'd have 12 times x over 4 plus 12 times y over 3 equals 12 times 1. Don't forget to multiply the right side by 12 as well. 12 is really 12 over 1. 4 goes into 12 3 times, so 3x. 3 goes into 12 4 times plus 4y equals 12. Is probably the way you would see this choice. Now, I'm warning you, on most of the assessment tests that I have seen, they write 3x plus 4y equals 1 as one of the choices. Okay? So you have to be very careful. They realize that you can write x over A plus y over B equals 1, and they're counting on you not being able to remember to multiply both sides of the equation by 12. Okay? So don't make the mistake of writing 3x plus 4y equals 1. Both sides get multiplied by 12, so it's 3x plus 4y equals 12. 12 times 1 is equal to 12. Okay, let's try. Another example is this. Write an equation of the line whose graph is sketched below. Write an equation of the line whose graph is sketched below, and let's see. Okay, let's say that's all they give you. It is up to you to realize that the X-intercept is plus 2. The X-intercept, or A, is plus 2. And the Y-intercept in this problem, or B, is minus, because it's below the x-axis, minus 1 to minus 3. Okay, so A is plus 2. Even if they don't give you the numbers, A is plus 2. Okay, to the right of the y-axis, the x values are positive, and to the left, they're negative. Above the x-axis, the y values are positive, and below, they're negative. So the x-intercept, A, is plus 2, and the y-intercept, B, is minus 3. And then we write x over A plus y over B equals 1, or x over 2 plus y over minus 3 equals 1. And as I mentioned before, more than likely, the choices will not, this will not be one of the choices, but rather you'll have to clear the fractions. The LCD in this problem is 6, so I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 6, and then distribute the 6. So I'll have 6 times x over 2 plus 6 times y over minus 3 is equal to 6 times 1. 6 is really 6 over 1. So 2 goes into 6 3 times, so 3x plus 6 divided by minus 3 gives you minus 2. 3x minus 2y equals 6 is probably the way they would write that as one of the choices. Okay, so A was positive, B was negative, but that doesn't affect you when you're multiplying through by the LCD. You just use 6, and then positive over positive is positive. Positive divided by a negative should be negative. And that's, don't forget, plus 6, not plus 1 on the right. And for our last problem on this tape, write an equation of the line whose graph is sketched below. And let's say it looks like this. The X-intercept in this problem, or A, is equal to minus 1. The Y-intercept, or B, is equal to plus 2. You may get the picture like this, or it may say minus 1 and plus 2, but you should be prepared to realize that the X-intercept is negative and the Y-intercept is positive. A is equal to minus 1, B is equal to plus 2, and finally X over A plus Y over B equals 1 is the equation of the line, and that gives us X over minus 1 plus Y over 2 equals 1. Let me rewrite that up here. X over minus 1 plus Y over 2 equals 1. And to clear the fractions, in case you're called upon to do that, we'll multiply both sides by 2. And we'll have 2 times X over minus 1 plus 2 times Y over 2 equals 2 times 1. And plus 2 divided by minus 1 will give us minus 2x plus, here 2 divided by 2 is 1, so plus 1y equals 2. It might be written in this form, or it might be written in the form you add 2x to both sides, y equals 2x plus 2. Might be the way it's written. Just trying to prepare you to be able to change from one form of an equation of a line to another. Okay, and then hopefully you'd see this as one of the choices in the multiple choice, and you'd circle it, and you'd be all set. And that brings us to the end of this videotape.